Michell University. Today we're going to be working with SAP Business One version 9.0, and we're going to go over the incoming payments. This webinar is being recorded. It will be available on our website, so you can visit us at www.michellgroup.com to view this as well as the others in our training series. So again, let's talk about SAP Business One and the concept of banking. So if we look here under the banking module, we have incoming and outgoing payments. These basically work the same way. Today we'll be working with incoming payments. Last week we discussed the outgoing payments. And by the way, these webinars are available on our website, so you can visit us at www.michellgroup.com to view these as well as the others in our training series. So when we talk about incoming payments, we talk about payments that come in from business partners. Remember, in SAP, a business partner is considered a customer, a vendor. So we can take incoming payments from both customers and vendors. We can also do incoming payments for a GL account specifically. So let's go here and open up the incoming payments. Open this up a little bigger. Okay, so we can see the incoming. You can see by default, it's defaulting to customer. So here, if I select tab, you see I'm looking at all my customers here. You can see the BP code is denoted with a C for customer. If I switch to vendor and I do a tab, you can see now I'm looking at my vendors. So this is nice because if you get, say, a refund check from a vendor, you can enter it in the system as well. You can also go directly to a GL account. So if you select this, you notice that there's no customer or no vendor. So here, again, you can select a specific GL account. So this could be some type of miscellaneous expense that we go in. So we'll start with this one. So let's just go here and let's just say miscellaneous expense. You received some money. So here, let's say we received $25 and so on. So we can do it this way. So once we determine that, now we have what's known as our payment means. So this is the incoming payment, and how are we being paid? When we talk about the payment means, and if we right-click and go here, we have 4 payment means. Okay, so how are we getting this money? Are we receiving a check from the vendor, the customer, or in this case, we can do it this way. Are we receiving a bank transfer? Are we receiving payment from a credit card? Or are we just getting cash? So let's just, here, we're going to do this one as cash. You can see the GL account is defaulted. Here's the total. I'm just going to go ahead and right-click and do my copy balance due. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to add. Again, once I add, you cannot change this document. So once I add this, if there's a mistake, I would have to go and reverse the transactions and so on. So if we go back and take a look, we can see here that now we did one for the expense, and we can see the transactions. Again, so you can see our transaction. We credited that miscellaneous expense, and we debited the cash in the bank. You can see the journal transaction here. Now if I right-click and I go to the payment means, you can see it tracks the payment means as well. You can see that this is grayed out. I can't really make any changes. Okay, so that's a simple one with the accounts. So let's do another one. So let's go here to add. And we're going to be focusing on customers today. So we're just going to go ahead and tab, and I'm going to select Earthshaker. Okay. And I'm going to choose my customer. And again, here you see the information. Again, if the customer has multiple bill twos, you can select the multiple bill twos in here. Here's our posting date. Okay, so this is the date we're going to affect our general ledger. So again, we can change this if we want to change the different information down here. Here is the aging of this particular customer, Earthshaker. You can see here, again, we have some old bills. We have a demo data here, so you can see that these are overdue. Again, these are the days are overdue. They also asterisk denote what's overdue here. Again, you can determine what you want to see here by going into the form settings. So if you want to go into form settings, again, we know from our navigation training, we can actually set our form settings and we can move, again, this information around. So let's say here we're going to take off the product and the dimensions because we're not going to use that. I'm going to click OK. Okay, just kind of, you can see here, just kind of cleans up the screen a little bit. And again, we can set that up there. Okay, let's do a simple one here. You can see here, here's the document. Here's the total of the document. You can see the balance due. So the total is $116,000. You can see that the balance due. If I want to go in and check the document, I can go here, and I can drill in to my document by using the yellow arrow. And you can see here that there was an amount applied. Again, if we right-click, we look at this particular payment means, we can see here that you'll also notice there was an incoming payment 139. We're on actually 145, but again, if we open up the incoming payment 139, and again, we can see there was a partial payment made to this invoice, the amount right here. Okay, so we're going to do a simple one. We're just going to select this one. And by default, the total payment, we're just going to pay it in full. So we're going to go right-click, payment means. Let's say the customer gave us a check. So again, we're going to put our date. Let's say the check from the customer is 1234. And we're going to right-click and do the copy balance due. Okay, very simple here. We click OK. We click Add. Again, you're getting the message that you can't change this once it's done. We're just going to go ahead and add this. We're going to post. So we can see the operation is complete. We're going to call it back up. And again, you can see the information. So now if I look at this document, you can see the document is closed, and the balance due is 0 because it's been applied. We do our right-click and go to our payment means. We see our 2 payment means here now on the actual document. And again, here, if we do our right-click, we can see our information. Now, one of the things SAP does in the setup, you'll notice that this is set to go to a check clearing account. What we do is the incoming payments actually go into a clearing account, and then the deposit program is what moves them into the bank, and the deposit program updates the bank reconciliation program. We'll briefly touch on this today. We do have a detailed webinar on it, and we'll just kind of do it. So again, you can set this up because you're in real time. So again, this is very important. Like if you're in retail, you're taking money on registers, okay, the money is in the system, but it's not in the bank yet. So you don't want that money reflected in your bank because you haven't made the deposit yet. But you want to update the customer's account to keep him up to date for credit limits and so on. So again, you can see it's going to that clearing account. And then the deposit program will move it from the clearing account into the actual bank account. And that will also, the deposit program will update your bank rec program. Okay, so let's do another one here. So let's just go back, and let's call up Earthshaker. Now, what's important here is when you make the payments is to select the total payment. So for instance, if this one was a partial pay, and they're going to pay me $20,000, I need to put the $20,000 here, because that's what I'm paying. And I'll show you that in a moment, because otherwise it creates an issue in the system. It creates, you'll see these journal entries down here, which the system will create. So I'm going to right-click, go to my payment means. Again, let's just do this one as a bank transfer. Let's select our GL account. Let's go here. And again, you have your transfer date. We're going to put today's date. Again, reference, you can say this is wire transfer, and so on. And again, we're using that right-click, copy balance due. It's going to bring the amount over, and we're going to click OK. And we're going to add. So let's call that one back up. And again, you can see the information here. Again, if we right-click and look at our payment means, this is how it was paid. There's all the information is stored for you, the dates, the reference numbers, and so on. And again, if we go here and look at our link, there's our $20,000 there. That's important. What people do is they actually make a mistake on that when they do a partial pay, and I'll show you what happened. SAP, the accounting is correct. SAP kind of does a strange way of compensating. So let's go here. This one is for 26. Let's say we select it, but they're only paying $10,000. I'm not going to change that. I'm going to go here, right-click, go to the payment means. We'll just stick here with the check. And we're going to put in $20,000. Okay? We're going to eliminate the bank charge. So you can see that balance of the 65 here. We're going to click OK, and we're going to add this. And you'll see here, you're getting this message. Now, it's strange because this is a negative amount. So you're getting this negative amount, okay, is not matched to anything. That's because you said total payment of 26, but you're only paying 20,000. So it's going to do a negative to compensate. Normally, if you see this, you should select no. I'm going to select yes, and I'm going to show you what happens. So now, if you look, you'll see here that the total payment was the 26, and you got this negative on account. If we look at the document, okay, you can see that here the document has everything being applied. All right, and if you look at the transaction, we got the $20,000 in. But what SAP does is to compensate the difference of that 6 here, it's going to create a journal entry. And if I go here, you'll see it right here. See what it did? So it creates this strange transaction here because it has to kind of balance. It says you took $20,000 on that invoice. So when you do a partial pay, it's very important to also change the amounts here, because then you get this kind of strange thing here. And if you look at this transaction, you'll see here the 20,000. See how it's 20,000, even though it says this amount here, because again, it has to kind of compensate between the mistake on top. So normally, if you want to do a partial pay, like we said before, you change this amount. So we're going to make this 40,000. Okay. Then we're going to go to the payment means. And we're going to go here and put the 40,000 in. Okay, so when we add that, it makes sense. So when we go call it back up, you'll see that the 40,000. So you don't have that on that negative on account information. Okay, and again, if you go here, you won't have that information. Now, speaking of on account, let's do it on account. Let's say you get more money. So let's say the customer is paying this invoice, but for some reason they sent you a check for more money. Let's say they actually are paying an invoice that's already paid. Okay, so they selected an invoice that's not here. So they made a mistake and they're giving you more money. I want to add that money in. So again, I select that invoice. I right-click. I go to my payment means, and here I put in, say, 5,500. Okay, I'm going to take the bank charge out because it's not a bank charge. I'm going to click OK. And now when I go to add, you're going to get this message again that you saw before about the on account, but here it's positive. Remember, before it was negative because it was trying to compensate for that difference. Now it's correct. It's saying you took 5,500, you're applying this, so what do you want me to do with that? Again, I could type it in here if I want on the on account, but this, if I click yes, will do it for me. So you can see it's now down here. So what it's saying is that you're paying this amount plus the additional, because there's your amount. You took 5,500 and you're doing that. You're going to click add. That's okay, because what that will do is, again, you can see here, you have that open balance. And now if you go in and look at the customer's aging, see, now it's here, but it makes sense. You see how it has this proper amount, all right, as opposed to this one being opposite. So that's one of the ways you can do. So it's very important when you do a partial pay to do it that way. You can also do some other things here. Again, you can actually override the discount, so you can put a discount percent or a discount total. Let's say somebody short pays you on this one here. Let's say they gave you a check for $8.63 and 60 cents, not the 2 cents. So you want to put in, say, 0.02. Okay, and see what it'll do is it'll change that to 60 cents because you don't want to keep the 2 cents on there. Then you can go here. You're just going to basically write off 2 cents. We can right-click, payment means. Again, when we copy the balance due, we get the 60 cents. So here, we're okay. So if we add this and go back and take a look at it, we're pretty much okay because, again, what affected the bank was, again, 60. And we just wrote off. They made a mistake. They sent us a check for 60 cents instead of 62. I don't want to carry an open balance for the 2 cents. I can just do it that way. Okay. If there are actual discounts the system will take into consideration. So if you notice here, I did one before the demo down here. Again, if I look at this vendor, this customer has 2% net 10. So if you look here at the payment means, see how he's getting 2% net 10. So this invoice here, if I open it up, see, has a discount of 2%. So because I'm within the range, you see I just did this one today. It's not due till next month. You can see that's why you see it here. Okay, again, you don't see the little asterisk because it's not in arrears, and you can say it's not due yet for 30 days. So it picks this out. So it'll actually do it for me automatically. So here is the amount. Okay, the discount, the amount before the discount here, and then there's the discount, and there's the paying it. So it would actually select it correctly because the customer is going to pay you this, and he's going to actually, when you do that, you're actually going to select that one. So again, it'll do it for you on the payment. So if we select that one, you'll see the effective general ledger will be correct. So we're going to go ahead and add that one. Okay, we're going to go back and take a look at it. And again, you can see here the discount of 93, and the general ledger is affected accordingly. So again, here's the customer Earthshaker. Again, we credit the total amount of the invoice. We put $45.61 in the clearing account, and then we wrote off this discount allowed here. So SAP will handle it that way. So again, you can either, if you're in the system, you can let the system handle it itself. You can also override. A lot of times you have customers that may have a 2% net 10, but they don't pay within the 10 days, but they're a good customer, so you still want to actually, they'll take the discount, but you want to give them the discount anyway because they're a good customer. You can go ahead and either put a 2% here or the percentage here, or just figure out the amount this way. Okay. Now, there's another thing we can also do. That's the standard one. You can doing it that way. So we've seen, again, the different scenarios here where we pay an invoice in full. We do a partial pay by changing the total payment. We get paid too much, so we do an on account. There's another option here called the add-in sequence. A lot of times what happens is that when you're dealing with vendors that have a lot of small transactions or big chain stores, what they'll do is they'll send you a check for an amount, and they'll say apply this to the oldest invoice. So here you can see the information here. So what I can do is I can go here and I can right-click and go to the payment means first. So now let's say they're going to give you $75,000. I can select the amount first, and then I can click this add-in sequence. What this add-in sequence is going to do, it's going to start with the oldest one. It's going to take the credits into account, and it's going to basically populate it for me. So if I click add-in sequence, you can see how it picked everything, and you can see so this one we paid in full, this one we paid in full, and so on. We're going to get to a point here that we're not, so here we have them all paid in full, so actually we have 175 that way. Let's actually change that so we have something left over. So let's just uncheck all this, do a little bit less. Let's go back to our payment means, and let's change this to 60. Okay, so I wanted to do that. I actually picked too much money. So I picked everything out of 100, all of it all together. So here, what I want to do is I want to select 60. So notice what it does. It goes for those credits or the other amounts first. So you notice it grabbed this one and this one here. So you can see here, this one, it took the $375 negative, which is kind of like a credit. It took the $7 here, and then it went to the oldest invoices. So then it went back up here, and it said, okay, this is the oldest one, 137 days. It paid it in full. This one, and this one. So you can see how it does all that information. So it actually takes care of it this way. So again, when I add, it does it for me automatically. Okay, so you can see here what was paid, and there's the amount. So again, you can see the information here. So you could use the add-in sequence if you want. Again, some clients do use it in that sense. What they're saying is they're going in and they're saying, okay, just apply it. right? I'm going to show you the deposits real quick. If you notice here, I've been doing that. If I go now to, basically, if you notice all these incoming payments, okay, we're going to that clearing account. Now, I do have a clearing account for credit cards, for bank transfers, and I have it for checks. I don't have it for cash because cash is cash. It came right in. You can actually change it that way. So you can see here what this information is doing. See the clearing accounts? So now let me go into the deposit real quick. So if I go here into my deposits, okay, and again, you can see under credit card, you can see these are the old stuff, nothing today. Cash is just going to lump the cash in all together. So it's going to do checks, credit card, and cash. It's not going to do bank transfers because theoretically a bank transfer goes to the bank first. So the wire transfer hits the bank first, and then it goes in, and the bank lets you know, and then you enter it. So you're going to do this way. So you're going to say, okay, again, we can do one for each. So let's just go here. Again, you can select the ones that were done today. Okay, so we're just going to do shift, and we're going to grab all those. So we took that amount. Again, we're going to select our GL account. So we're going to move this from the clearing account. You can see here the check clearing account right here, the 318. We're going to move it from the clearing account into the bank account. And this is going to create the transaction. If we add this, this is going to go ahead and create the transaction in the bank rec program. So here it is right now. If we look at what happened, you can see here how it took everything out of the check and it put one lump into this. This is important to do it this way because this is what's going to show in the bank reconciliation program. So again, if you visit our website, we have a detailed webinar on how this works with the bank rec, but this would indicate my deposit. Okay. One last thing I want to show you is that you can actually combine one or more transaction types. This is used typically for the bank transfer. So let's say here they're paying, this one here is being paid, okay, but there's a transaction fee, a bank transfer fee. So I'm not getting the whole amount. Let's say there's a $20 transfer fee. So what I'm going to do here is I can go to the payment means, I can go into my cash, and here I'm going to select a bank account. I'm going to select bank charges. Okay, I'm going to put in $20 worth of bank charges. You can see here, I'm going to delete that. And then I'm going to go here to the bank transfer program, and I'm going to say, okay, so what came into the bank here, and by the way, you'll notice that that check clearing account has changed amount here too. And then here, when I do right-click, copy balance due, I can do this. So what I'm saying is that this invoice was for $19.74. Okay, the customer paid me, but what happened is the bank took its fee. So I'm only going to get $1,954 in my bank account because of the $20. So I can use this to do that. So I can override this and put it against the bank charges. I'm going to click OK. You're going to get this warning. It's just saying that this is not a cash account. So we're going to go ahead and click OK, and we're going to add it. So again, if we go back and take a look at that, you can see here that the invoice shows paid in full, which it did because the customer paid for it. Okay, but I only got my $1,954 in the bank, and then there's my $20 bank debit to my bank charge account. Okay, so that concludes our training today on incoming payments. Like we said, this is being recorded. It'll be available on our website, so you can visit us at www.michellgroup.com to view this as well as the others in our training series. And we thank you for your time.